ready, Sherry? You ready? Okay. You guys ready? I'd like to call the meeting to order. And first like to report that during the first session this afternoon and workshop, we had a workshop on our assessment results given by Mrs. Andrea Reed. And then we also had another workshop on our facilities master plan and how we would be proceeding as far as that's concerned. And then we went into recessed into closed session, and we had a conference with our district labor negotiator, Dr. Pulver, and no action was taken at this time. So we're back now into open session, and I would like, Mrs. Reed, would you lead us in a flag salute this evening? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, as far as special guests, you're all special guests tonight, everybody that's here. So welcome, and I will be next moving to our classified personnel report, and we usually do the two together, then the certificated. Dr. Pulver, anything you need to say?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve those two?
I'll make a motion that we approve the certificated and classified personnel reports together.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Then we're on next to reports, recognitions, and introductions. And first is my report. And I'm going to be talking I'm not going to read all of that, but this is about all the intervention programs that we offer in our district for those students that may be struggling, or some of them that may want a little bit more coaching in one particular area. We, of course, for K through 5 in elementary, you see we have reading lab, we have after-school reading, writing, and math instruction. And then one of the great things that we have in this district are our intervention teachers. We were able with our teachers union to negotiate a salary to be able to pay these intervention teachers on an hourly basis. And this all started out because of our Los Alamos Education Foundation started a program for class size reduction and got donations from the community for that particular aspect of it. And it's continued on, and it's a very successful program because what happens is it releases the teachers to work with a small group as well as the intervention teacher working with a small group. And of course we have summer school, and then in middle school we have a double dose for our English language learner students and ELA, and math support, which has a reading clinic and a math intervention, which is a 0 period, which is a period before the actual school day starts. And then we have another math push-in intervention. And we have before school clinics, Saturday school. I know Annie does a Saturday school, the principal herself at McAuliffe, right? And so I have summer school remediation, as well as we have a summer bridge to open access. Then we have, at the high school, we have APICS and Griffin Virtual Lab, Math Lab for Algebra 1. We have a Skills Lab, which is the Directed Study Hall. And then we have a Credit Advantage program, which kind of took the place of our Laurel High School. It's almost like a school within a school, so people can catch up. We have co-teaching in classes like English and biology, life science, physical universe, and so on, all the ones meant for that. And then we have a summer school and summer bridge. You know, one of our goals that we adopted at our last meeting was to enhance our participation in Algebra 1 and try to get the students to take Algebra 1 by 8th grade. And actual research shows if you can complete Algebra 2, you'll be more successful in college and in life, actually. And so what we have done is establish these programs so we can get kids into that particular aspect, Algebra 1, by the time they're in 8th grade. And we used to have a 2-year algebra class, an A, B, C, D, and you're trying to eliminate that so they will all only at least have the 1 year. So that's just a brief overview of, we do have lots of intervention programs for our kids in this district, because we believe that every child can learn, and we want every child to be successful. So that's it. And next I have Dr. Kropp with her superintendent's report.
Good evening, Madam President, esteemed members of the board, and everyone who's here tonight. Thank you. And so it's really an honor for me to talk briefly just about yesterday was our leadership advance. We do this one day a year, and this year we invited more than ever before, and we had 168 people at our leadership advance yesterday, and I love it. So I've already said we could actually add one more table, and then I think we're maxed out in this space. But it was really fun, and we were able to invite all of our new teachers, and I think that makes a big difference. I received many positive comments from them, so I think that was a nice change. So also during the event, we don't use any district dollars for that, and not everyone is aware. And so a special thank you to Deputy Meyer, who really, we had 17 companies, and she wasn't the only one, but really the bulk of it. We were able to get $18,000 in donations for our donation account, which we used for the advance, and we'll also use to recognize staff throughout the year. So it's really nice that we have local businesses that do that for us. And then lastly, part of the reason that we have the leadership advance, and thank you everyone in the audience who was here yesterday. I really feel blessed and honored. I don't know another way to say that other than we have an amazing team. And I know that, Karen, you were there yesterday as well. And I know Meg and Diane, and in the past, whenever you guys, the board can come, you do, and I really appreciate that. But there's such a commitment by our employees. And when I looked around, I have these heartwarming moments where I just think you are so lucky. And then I think what it really is about is that our kids are so lucky that we have so many employees across the board in numerous roles that give 110% every day. So we say Team LoSal, all in all the time. And we have so many employees that are all in all the time. So many live here or they send their children to our schools. And so it was quite a nice moment. So I'm going to show we showed, I think, 8 videos. I'm going to show one right now. And I think the power of this isn't who's in it, but that it really could be any one of us, because it's about having employees where each one feels like they can make a difference, and they do, and that everyone contributes to the vision of every kid, because you know what we really want is everything for everyone, right? So I'm going to show this video, and hats off to Bob Osman who created it, and it's called The Crazy Ones.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently, the thinkers, the strivers, the problem solvers. Good enough isn't for them. They don't accept the status quo. They seek challenge. They embrace change. When others ask why, they ask, why not? They imagine and invent and create. They heal, explore, inspire. We may shake our heads, we may not understand them, but we can't ignore them because they change things. They pull us all forward, make us all better. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, when we look closely, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
I know.
Thank you.
Now that tears are streaming down my face. Yeah. I missed that one yesterday. Okay, next we have our new employees that we're going to be introducing. And so I'll be coming down with you, Dr. Kropp, and we have Mrs. Andrea Reed first.
Come on down.
So, Madam President, may I? All right. So I first met Mrs. Reed 10 years ago. I had to ask her how many years it was because it seems like she's just always been here, right? And so she said this is her 11th year. And I remember she applied, I'll get a little bit of this wrong, but 40% as an art TOSA to do an Arts Advantage coordinator or something like that. And that was right before we had the budget crisis. So of course, that same year we cut, I was assistant soup and ed services then, and we cut all of our directors and all of our TOSAs, and it was really horrendous, and it was sad. And so one day, I think it went like this. One day I said, hey, Andrea, do you want to learn and do some work with GATE and EL and a host of other things? She says, sure. And I says, okay, I have this meeting this week. Could you put together an agenda and show me? And she just looked at me, you know, and so she put together the most amazing agenda. And that was so simple. But in that moment, I really knew that she was a leader and that she was a doer and that no challenge was too big. And she rolled up her sleeves and got involved in everything. And she was just spectacular. And then she became our program director, I'm not sure of the exact title, with LAIF, and she equally was spectacular. And what I loved about every time I've worked with her is that she has such a spirit about what LoSal is about at our core, and it's about that spirit of excellence where a 9 is good, but a 10 is where we want to be, and it's that excellence, that attention to detail. So this summer, I don't think she ever woke up in June and said, I think I'm going to be the assistant soup July 1. I really don't. In fact, I think she probably didn't think she would want that. I'm not sure. And so, actually, I'm pretty sure. And so, you know, things happen, and life does what it does. And so this opportunity really did arise. And now I feel like to start sobbing, but I really cannot tell you enough how spectacular that she has been. And we have not missed a beat. And what she did to make sure, and yes, she had help, and we had teachers come forward and other principals and directors and a lot of people, but really under her leadership, we still had LoSal Connects, we still applied for grants, we still got all of our state reports done, and the leadership advance wouldn't have happened without her, and I really am just so pleased. So now she is in her new role for 6 weeks, and I feel like 10 years ago that she's just always been in the job. So I don't think she feels that quite yet, but it is really my honor, and it's really a privilege to introduce her. And first I'm going to have President Russell, but it really is an honor and a privilege to work with her, and I think she makes us stronger. So congratulations to Andrea Reed.
Well, since Dr. Kropp seemed to say almost everything I remember about Andrea and Mrs. Reed, it's just spectacular. One of the things I wanted to mention, because Dr. Kropp didn't mention that one, was she was at one time the principal at Hopkinson, and I just saw Hopkinson grow by leaps and bounds under her leadership. And in moving into the Ed Services job, I think it was just a natural for her to take over the assistant superintendent job of Ed Services. And I know she is so committed to the students. She lives in the community, has a love for this community, and it is so noticeable. So thank you, Mrs. Reed, for taking on this responsibility. You are doing an awesome job.
Madam President, members of the board, special guests with us. You know, I've been thinking a lot about today because I didn't think in June that this would be the role that I would be in, and it kind of talked me back yesterday when I was at the Leadership Advance to a video that Dr. Kropp, I think it was last year or the year before, you showed bits and pieces of a documentary that Maya Angelou had put together about her life. And for those of you that don't know a lot about Maya Angelou, she was raised by her grandmother, and there's a part in the video where she says, and when I told my grandmother I was going to be leaving, she walked me across a threshold and she said, and now you've been raised. I expect you to go on your way and do the things that you know are right. And I think I have been so fortunate in my life to have been raised many times. And I think that starts with my mom and my uncle who are here today, right? For 18 years, they raised me to understand the value of education and of a work ethic. And then I had the opportunity here, and every time, whether it's with the McGaw staff or the Hopkinson staff or the district office, I was raised, right? People took the time to invest in me and teach me, and they took the time to help me learn. And I think that really is the LoSal way. And I really wouldn't have the job I have today if it wasn't for Dr. Kropp. So 10 years as a mentor. She has taken every time she has available to instill in me the values of all LoSal and share with me how you do great work for kids. And that I will always have. And I would feel remiss but not without mentioning Diana Hill. Diana, who took a chance on a teacher on a 60% assignment who was 6 months pregnant at the time, to start from scratch an after-school and summer enrichment program. I really cannot thank these strong women role models I've had in my life. And I just want to say to the board, I am so blessed and fortunate to have this role, and I look forward to many years of service. So thank you again for another opportunity. So I'd like to introduce my family who's here with me today, my Uncle Jay, my mom Diane, my husband Jason, and both my student and both my children, my students. They are also my students who are going into the 5th and 1st grade. So thank you so much for coming tonight as well.
Next we have Mr. Christopher Vlasic. You know, sometimes people like to move around so they get experiences in various positions. And Mr. Vlasic was, for the last few years, in his other position, which started out one of our board goals, and we established that brand new position. And he moved in from the high school into our safety director. And I've happened to be on at least 2 of the task forces that we had with him, you know, running it and in charge and everything. And we have done tremendous things at our schools and making them safer for our children and establishing drills with our law enforcement agencies, as well as looking at our substance abuse situation and having various meetings at schools about internet safety and parents coming to those programs and being informed about what it is to make life safer in this brand new age, because it is a new age and things have changed a lot. So we really, really appreciate all that he's done in that position. We know he's going to even be just as spectacular in the Ed Services Director position. So Dr. Kropp, next.
Oh, Mr. Vlasic. So he has started as a math teacher for us. This is his 7th year. Seventh year as a math teacher for us, and he was also one of the athletic directors. And then he became an assistant principal for a very short time. And then, like Karen said, sometimes life happens, you know, and jobs open up that you least expect at the most unique times, and I think it worked out for both of us and for the entire district. And so he did become the director, as Karen said. And so some things about him, that he is just an amazing human being, and he has really added a touch to our cabinet. He's been on cabinet now for a few years, and it's really been a gift for us. He's very student-centered, very student-focused, and has a calm manner. And so I know for me personally, I really appreciate that. And I love that he cares about kids as always his primary target. And that goes from safety to teaching to learning to how we support sites. And he oversaw last year all of our expulsions and our interdistrict transfer permits when they were denied, and some things that really can be difficult. And in each and every case, he handled them with grace and with class, and really let parents leave with dignity, feeling like we cared about them, even if they didn't get the outcome that they desired. So it really has been just my pleasure to get to know him better, and he has done spectacular work. I'm looking forward to this next chapter for all of us. So congratulations, Mr. Vlasic. And you know, hey, he was our Administrator of the Year last year. So an extra round of applause. Let's give it up for Mr. Vlasic.
President Russell, esteemed members of the board, cabinet community, and really family. I don't come to work every day. I'm going to lift this. It's a little small. Yeah, thank you. But I get to come. I get to come to a place that I absolutely enjoy spending time at, and really, as you can see, Andrea is inspiring. When that position became open, Michael, Dr. Keller, and I, we were talking with her and just said, "Why not you?" And as you can see, it almost took her like 24 hours to come to that realization, and she's going to be a dynamic leader in that position. So, and then immediately it just became this whirlwind of, what did we just do, Michael? Because she started rearranging the office and getting things ready to go. But we're really fortunate to be working under her, and thank you so much for your leadership and for your just inspiration, and really we're looking forward to a great year. I'd be remiss not to thank my wife for all of her support, care, just all the late nights, and then my two children, Jocelyn and Brandon. They're also students here in the district, 5th grade and 3rd grade over at LAE. And then everybody else that we work with through our site administrators. We've either been team members or we work together closely. And guys, it is a true honor and a pleasure to work next to you, side by side, and I look forward to another great year. So thank you very much.
Our next person that we've hired, because it seems like this domino effect is taking place, but we have so many talented people in this district to just bring right into the next position. And so I'd like to call up next Melissa Miller, our new Director of Safety and Student Services. I've had the pleasure of working with Melissa on various things within the district, but I think some of the more outstanding things that she has done is working with our student bodies and our ASB. And I know she had to oversee that track and all the stuff that goes on there. And then for the first time, we had our baccalaureate and our middle school graduations this year, and she was kind of put in charge of that. And oh my gosh, it was such a wonderful experience, and I think she should receive all the credit for how wonderful that turned out to be. And she's just a very talented administrator, and I know she will be an excellent person in the job of student safety, because that's very near and dear to my heart, as it is to all the board members. So congratulations, Melissa, and welcome on board the position.
So I'm so glad we can lift this out now. So Melissa, this is Melissa's 7th year. Just really hats off to her. I'm looking forward to it. So I think she's been in the job 2 weeks. And so it's very new. And already it's really joyful. So as you know, one of our key or core values is bring joy to your work. And already she has really managed to do that. And as Karen said, when you can manage those type of large projects and not skip a beat, that says a lot about someone's leadership and organizational tools. And one day, one of her fellow APs said, I asked a question how something was gonna go, and he says, I don't know, I just asked Melissa. And I just cracked up, and I know they were half joking, but that is the thing, that she really steps up and knows that detail. And so she is a winner. She's just all in all the time, works hard. I don't know, the work ethic she has is just crazy. And when you've done athletics activities and overseen that large of an operation, you have a lot of experiences that we're going to really benefit from at the district office. And also, I think all of our schools will benefit, and I know she's really looking forward to this expanded role to learn and grow in the position. So I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it, Melissa. Can't wait to work with you more. And so here we are, Miss Melissa Miller.
President Russell, members of the board, Dr. Kropp, cabinet, and community. I just want to say thank you very much for this opportunity in this new director role. I feel very fortunate 7 years ago to have been hired here in Los Al. I have learned so much in this last 7 years in leadership and just being fortunate to work with a team, and I'm excited to join the Ed Services team now at the district office and continue to serve and give back. And like Dr. Kropp had said, I'm looking forward to be able to work with all the sites across the district at all different levels. schools and really kind of expand my horizons and be out there and serve and support in every way that I can. So thank you very much again for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with everybody. Also, I'd like to introduce my boyfriend Ed and my sister Amanda.
You'll notice a very common aspect of all of our new hirees we're introducing. They're all tall. Well, let's wait till next. You'll see. Okay. Our next person I'd like to introduce is Ronnie Ellis, the new principal at McGaw Elementary School. So if you'll join us up there. Okay, well, McGaw is near and dear to my heart because I live down the street from it and I drive by it every single day almost. And so we had the pleasure of having a little reception for Mrs. Ellis at McGaw a few weeks ago. And we had a lot of really great people at that reception. And I think the parents were very happy with our selection as the new principal at McGaw. And she has a wealth of experience of being a principal and being in a district office and also being a teacher at one time. So that's dear and dear to my heart as well. So we really welcome you, Mrs. Ellis, and I know great things will happen.
So not everyone will know this, but we have quite a rigorous process when people apply to be a principal at one of our schools. And so Ronnie really did an amazing job through each one of the phases that we went through. And I hope it was a little grueling because you want people to have to really work hard for it, you know. And so when I did offer her the position, I said, you know, well, what are you doing? Can you meet tomorrow? And she said, oh, I'm up north. And then I said, oh, okay, well, no problem. She goes, no, wait. My husband said we can drive home in the morning. And I go, what? I go, you married a nice guy. And she said, yeah, I did. So she really did. It wasn't necessary, but already that told you all in all the time that she left a vacation early to come in the next day and meet with us because she was ready to go. And so her experience, she was a teacher in LA and a mentor teacher and a lead teacher, principal at the elementary and middle school level, and had various district roles. But I think even more important than all of that, success is that you get a sense about someone when you're interviewing about the spirit of LoSal. We talked about that a lot tonight, but that she is about all students and about raising the bar all of the time, having great partnerships with families and with students, and we value that so much here in LoSal, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think McGaw is a great school with a spectacular staff, and I think she's the right person to partner with them. And before I introduce her, I want to take this time to say the team we have of administrators really is that extraordinary. And so a special thank you. We have so many administrators today that came today to help honor these four. And so if you could just stand so we can just recognize you for coming tonight. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. It really means a great deal, I know, to me personally and to all of us, that you took time to be here. So thank you. And so Mrs. Ellis, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be great. You've actually been on board, I think, about, well, really officially 2 days, but really unofficially since the moment she got the job. She's been there every day. So congratulations. I'm looking forward to it. And now here's Mrs. Ronnie Ellis.
President Russell, members of the board, staff, thank you. I've read about and I've heard about Los Alamitos Unified for my entire career in education, and the things that are said about you are just unbelievable. But what I've experienced in the last 3 weeks far exceeds anything I've ever heard. Your leadership in Dr. Kropp, I think you probably know this already, but if you don't, from an outsider who's now an insider, unbelievable leadership, integrity, character. And it's in every one of the staff members that she's brought on board in her cabinet are welcoming, they're professionals, they represent you very well as a board, so you should be very proud. And on that, I am just happy to be here. I promise to serve you well and to make you proud as well. I'd like to say thank you to my family who's been so supportive for my entire career. In fact, I even bring my nieces and nephews with me to the schools that I've been at. So that's how much confidence I have in that. But first, I'm going to start with my husband. Yes, who 4 o'clock in the morning said, "Come on, we're going home," because Losal called. I'm like, yes, that's the best part of the vacation. Very much, very true. Dave Ellis, I love you. Tommy, my nephew, Nicole and Taylor, my twin nieces, my brother-in-law Dave, my sister and I both married Daves. Dave 1 and Dave 2, we call them. My sister Joni, I love you very much. Thanks for being here. And I have 2 previous students that I was the principal of with their elementary level who have grown up to be fine young men. They're the police department and the fire department, Long Beach. And their wives are here. And so I just wanted to thank you so much for being here, Jen, and Nicole, and brand new Madeline. So I come with a big group of people, and we all work together, so it's good. Thank you very much.
Okay, at this time, we usually take a recess so we can have pictures up here with all the administrators that we just introduced and their families. And I do believe we have cookies, right, out in the foyer. So if you don't want a picture, but those of you who are having pictures, you have to stay. But you can get cookies later.
All right. So Tina, is that the camera?
And thank you very much for a nice recess. And the first item on the agenda is community staff participation. I don't have any slips, so we'll move on to our information presentation, which the Williams Uniform Complaint Quarterly Report. Dr. Pulver.
Thank you, Madam President, esteemed members of the board. I am pleased once again to report that we do not have any items to report on our Williams complaint.
Very good. Thank you. That's good news. Okay, on next to the consent agenda, and I understand there may be some polls.
I'd like to pull 11O.
Okay, and I'd like to pull 11JJ. So, a motion, any other polls? Seeing none, a motion would be in order to approve 11A through N, P through II, and KK through SSS.
As long as you don't make me repeat that, I'll so move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And we're on to 11O. Mrs. Hill?
I will make a motion that we pass 11O, which is a renewal of an agreement with the Music Institute, the Mind Institute.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's properly moved and seconded. Go ahead, Mrs. Hill.
I just wanted to pull this item to just demonstrate that we brought in the Mind Institute, and maybe Dr. Kropp can help me. How long ago? Maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that.
At least.
At least.
Yeah, it was.
But it was brought in by one school, and it was,
years ago.
and it was piloted, and it's just a tremendous program, and it has become one of our signature practices for our sites. And if you ever have the need to talk to a elementary school student and want to try to engage them in conversation, just ask them about Gigi, and they will tell you a little bit about Gigi, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. But I just really appreciate that we have such incredible signature practices across our district. I think it's very, very important as we move up. So that's all.
Yeah, I'd like to just add a
Absolutely.
couple things to that, because I was reading some research the other day regarding intelligence, and one of the biggest ideas they had in there was the fact that if you take music lessons, especially keyboarding and piano, at a very young age, that actually increases your IQ. And that's what the big development is with the Mind Institute. They do the keyboarding, excuse me, easy for me to say, and you know, it helps, especially with math concepts, and actually music's the ultimate math. So it is a very, very important program that we have. So.
I would like to add something since we're
Sure.
adding things. The Mind Institute is the Mind Intelligent Neural Development. Is that what it stands for? Thank you for nodding, Andre. I appreciate
so.
that. And it is actually it comes out of UCI, where they were doing research on brain development and specifically on mathematical abilities and brain development. And Weaver was one of the first schools in Southern California to be like one of the test schools to see, would this truly impact how children learn math, how they retain math, and how they become math thinkers. And it is now all over the place, but it's started here, guys. Okay.
Okay, now, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve 11-0, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0, and we're on to the one that I pulled, 11JJ, and I too would like to move that we approve that. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. The reason I pulled this one was it was an activity we did at our advance yesterday, and I was so impressed. And I remember Dr. Kropp saying, I'd like to do this. Do you think, that sounds like a good idea? And we go, definitely. But the part that was so moving, we all did all these team building activities together as teams. Toward the end, we were each given an envelope, and they had questions in it. And we were supposed to take them up to the judge table, and then they would give us a part of a bicycle. And gradually, we got pieces of the bicycle. But as time went on, we found out that some of the questions in our envelope, we had to ask other teams to trade and put pieces together in order to do it. So it was like networking and building in that regard. But in the end, every team built a bicycle. Mm-hmm. Half of the room built 10 girls' bicycles. The other half of the room did 10 boys' bicycles. And everybody's going, oh, this is nice, all these bicycles. Well, what they didn't know is they planned to bring in children, needy children that have been recommended by principals and administrators and people across the district to receive these bicycles. And they were a little, intimidated by this great big crowd that they had to come in and get their bicycles from. But I took some pictures, and the looks on their faces and the thank yous I got from the parents who just were facing some bad moments in their life and really wanted to buy their children bicycles. It just wasn't a possibility. And I think all of the people in the room, the tears were streaming down their face, the people that were there for the leadership advance. So thank you, Dr. Kropp, for bringing that activity to us. It was very, very meaningful, and it really, again, puts forth to me how it's important to give back to your community as well as being a part of it. So thank you again. So anybody else have anything else to say on that? Seeing none, we have a motion before us. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Then we're on to action items, if I can find my place, which is first the designation and times and location of education meetings, Board of Education meetings during 2017. You all have that list. Is there a motion to approve those dates?
So moved.
Okay, is a second?
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the 2017 dates, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And we have next approval of the Deputy Superintendent's contract addendum. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Okay.
I'll second.
I'll properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the contract, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Oh, nope, those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
It's faster when you
I
don't ask
know.
for the no's.
All right,
Yeah.
next is the approval of the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services contract.
Also move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And we're on to approval of textbook. Mrs. Reed.
So the book that will be approved tonight has been on display for the last 30 days and was presented at a July 5th meeting, and it's World War II, A Short History. Prentice Hall was printed in 1994, and it's going to be used in our military history class that will be taught by Dave Carlson next year for 12th grade students.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Also move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. We're next on to a resolution of amending and replacing the authorization of signatures. Mrs. Meyer.
Yes, this is due to our new assistant superintendent, so we need to change our signatories.
Okay.
I'll move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, this is a roll call vote.
Mrs. Hill.
Aye.
Dr. Baki.
Aye.
Mrs. Russell.
Aye.
Ms. Cattouli.
Aye.
And Mr. Boyer.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 5-0, and we're on to another resolution to use the California Participating Addendum numbers for the National Association of State Procurement Officials. Mrs. Meyer?
Yes, this is a master contract, basically a piggyback that will allow us to take over leases that our parents have been paying for without going out to bid. It is a usable and very good financial piggyback to utilize for our copy machines with Konica Minolta.
Okay, thank you. That's a roll call vote also?
Oh, do we have a?
Oh, you have to move it.
Yeah, I'll also move.
Second. Properly moved and seconded. Now it's a roll call.
Mrs. Hill.
Aye.
Dr. Baki.
Aye.
Mrs. Russell.
Aye.
Ms. Cattouli.
Aye.
Mr. Boyer.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, and we're next to another resolution, the compensation for missed meetings for Dr. Barkey. So a motion would be in order to approve that.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded.
I would like to make just a comment.
Sure.
In order, if a board member misses a board meeting, that is the criteria for our stipend that we receive, and in order for he or she to receive the stipend, when they miss a board meeting, it has to come forward to the board, and that's why it's here.
And board members have other responsibilities besides coming to meetings. so
Yeah,
that's it.
life gets,
Yeah.
busy.
Okay, so it's properly moved. Do we move it?
Yes.
We did not
Okay.
make a comment.
Mrs. Hill.
Aye.
Dr. Baki.
I'm assuming I should abstain on this vote.
You can.
You can.
Recuse myself.
Yeah.
Just abstain, Woodward.
Abstain.
Yeah.
Mrs. Russell.
Aye.
Ms. Cattouli.
Aye.
Mr. Boyer.
Aye.
Motion passes 4 and with 1 abstention. And now we have next our approval of warrants. Mrs. Meyer?
As presented.
Okay,
I'll move approval of warrants as presented.
I'll second.
okay. Any discussion?
61 pages.
How many?
61.
61 pages.
63? I think
Aye, so
it's
63.
I think it depends on the size of your
your
device. But
All right,
yeah,
so the motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0, and we're on to acceptance of donations. And you will see before you, coming up on the screen, all the things that our generous community has given to us this last month. So a motion would be in order to accept the donations as presented.
Also move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Thank you.
Comment? Okay. Yes, thank you to our very generous community. And so all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And we're on to our communication. Can we start with you, Mr. Boyer?
Yeah, I would tell you, I got to attend, I think all of us did, the whole board got to attend the chamber breakfast with our new football coach. And so, for those of you that don't know, we do have a new football coach, Ray Fenton, who's now taken over for Coach Barnes. It was quite a nice breakfast. He gave us quite a little bit of information about how he was running his program. And so, 9 days, 23 hours, 29 minutes, and 16 seconds until our first football game. If you go to the LaSalleFootball.org website. And our first game will be against the Poly Jackrabbits. It'll be on the 26th of August. Or 26th, no?
Yeah, that's the 26th.
26th, that's what I got right here.
Okay.
I've got my glasses. And the venue is going to be at Cerritos College, which I think is great. We've moved the venue to Cerritos College as opposed to being at Vet Stadium. So it'll be at Cerritos College at 7 p.m. on the 26th. So those of you that like football, it should be a fun first game of the season. And for those that can be there, come early to get a good seat, all right? And then I'll pass it back to you, President Russell.
Mrs. Cattouli.
It's been busy. I have a couple of ROP comments to make. First of all, our Superintendent Mike Worley had his official retirement, and he is now no longer with us in North Orange County. We wish him the best, and we are in good hands, so things will be fun there. ROP also has a fall in-service every year. Because we're a consortium of 5 school districts, Anaheim, Fullerton, Placentia, Yorba Linda, Brea, and LaSalle, we have some school districts that have already been in session to at least 2 weeks. I mean, I seriously think they started like the 1st or 2nd of August. And so we had our fall-in service really early so that we could have our teachers attend it. And that's one of the few times that we get together with all of our staff over the 5 different school districts. So that was really great. And then I had a regular RLP meeting, which we were just basically getting ready to gear up. And they have a long time to gear up because all of our schools start at different times. So they have like a month where they get things going. I also was in a very appreciative position where after you have met earlier all the new personnel we have in the administrative level at LaSalle, I was able to be on many of the interview panels. One of the reasons I like to be on the interview panels is to make sure that we're getting top-notch candidates who are applying for jobs. And Dr. Pulver, you do a really good job. Most of the time, we'll have maybe 5 or 6 people who will be interviewed by the panel, and there are usually half of them that would say, oh, they would be good. They would, at a very minimum, be really, really good, but we were looking for those phenomenal individuals, and I think that we have found them. So I thank you for allowing me to participate, and it just makes me feel reassured that we are going to be in good hands for many years to come. And I appreciate the fact that so many people do want to work in our district. I was able to attend the meet and greet for the staff with Ronnie Ellis down at McGaw, and that was a nice time. The LaSalle Chamber was really good. There's a lot of us people from the school district are there to kind of cheer on Ray Fenton. And then yesterday, we talked about it before at this meeting, we did have our LaSalle Leadership Advance, and it was impressive. First of all, to get that many people from LaSalle all together in the room, the energy was high. We were all in mixed groups so that you didn't have like elementary school teachers and maintenance workers and board, members in one side. We were all mixed up, and it was such a good way to get to talk and to know people. And because everybody who works, you tend to have your friends that you go to that you see on a daily basis, and the organization is bigger than that. And it's such a great time for us to get out and to meet everybody and to know that we all are LaSalle. And those videos that were chosen, I think I cried like 4 or 5 times because they were just so moving. And I think what it really does is it really focuses everyone on how we have our hands in the middle, we're all together, and we're all kid all the way. And so I want to thank Dr. Kropp, her administration team, because this doesn't happen in a vacuum, I know that. And it was the best one yet. Oh. So we'll wait until next year and see if you can beat it. That's it.
Dr. Barkey.
So a lot of people determine success, especially on the football field, by who wins the game. This year I'm really proud. Our football coach, I think, regardless of whether we win or lose, and I suspect we'll win a lot of games, is going to be a great new mentor to the young men. And I got that sense when I heard him at the chamber with his description of his style, of how he practices, of how he expects his young men to play, and the respect that he will instill in those kids. So I'm real happy for the upcoming season to watch him grow, hopefully win some games, but more importantly, to win the minds and the discipline and the character of our kids. Speaking of sports, a shout out too to the women's water polo team, Olympic water polo team, who, as most of you know, train here locally in Los Alamitos. And we've got a LaSalle grad who is on the water polo
Rachel
team.
Fatah.
Yeah.
Rachel Fatah.
Rachel Fatah.
Yeah.
And I believe they're in the semifinals now, right?
Yes, they're
That's
doing well.
exciting.
So that is really exciting to see one of our own at that high level. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Mrs. Hill?
Couple of things. One, not necessarily related to a function I went to at school. It was another function. It was church on Sunday. And one of the speakers there was a former student. His name is Landry Fields, and Landry is played for the Knicks. He played for Stanford. He was, I think, all-state when he was here at LaSalle. Tremendous basketball player, but more than that, tremendous man. And he spoke, and I was just, it was funny sitting in the audience, and he talked a little bit about Stanford, and he was talking with Jeremy Lin, another basketball player, and talked about where Jeremy went to Harvard, And then he said, and I was raised right here, and he was raised in Long Beach, and he said, and I went to La Salle, and the eruption was tremendous. And still the pride. I mean, this young man has played for Stanford, the Knicks. I mean, he's had quite a career. And you could still see the pride when he said La Salle and that this was his home. And so it always makes me feel so phenomenal when I see our students who are out in the world doing tremendous things and being tremendous human beings, and gives me a tremendous amount of hope for the future. And so I loved that. And then I had the opportunity to tape a small video with Mr. Bob Olsman, who does a lot of our videos, and he asked me some questions about how I felt about the district, and I think that some of those are going to be represented on our website, so you have a better feel for who the board members are, where their hearts are, and what are the things that we find that are important. I also had the opportunity to go to a meet and greet with Mrs. Russell for Mrs. Ellis down in Seal Beach and see the parents and excited students come in to meet their new principal, and she was very warm and gracious, and I thought that event went very well. Also, when Coach Fenton was talking, one of the things that I really liked about the different programs and things that he said he did with his young men is that he took his, what were going to be seniors this year, because he had them in the spring for football, for spring football. They were still juniors, but they'd be seniors this year. And they went through a leadership book together. And I thought that was really very powerful, because I think many people, and I think I truly believe that good leaders constantly want to learn and grow and read about leadership and surround themselves with that. And so that he started that, and they would have discussions about what was in the book. And I thought that was, I absolutely loved that. And just the last thing about the Leadership Advance, it was an opportunity to get to see many people and to reconnect and ask how your summer was. But two things that happened to me that were really powerful there was, one, I sat for lunch with 3 brand new teachers. And they were, oh goodness, they look so young. And they were excited and enthusiastic, and they were at middle school and the high school, and so we had some discussions about that, and they talked about who they student taught under and the lessons they learned from that, and how many sessions they went to in La Salle Connect. They were already really doing the La Salle way, and that was wonderful. And then we do these table swaps, so we move tables all the time. And so I had the opportunity to sit next to the executive director of LAIF. And as Mrs. Reed said a little bit earlier, I was president of that organization. It seems like a very long time ago now. And it has grown tremendously. And sometimes people say, what does it really do for us? And when I was sitting there talking to Mrs. Logue, the executive director, I was filled with such gratitude and pride. And just a few things that I remember. At that event, at the leadership event, Mrs. Logue said that LAIF was going to donate $30,000 to media center teachers. They completely sponsor all of our STEAM, and so all of the individual STEAM fairs and then the big STEAM fair that's done at the high school. Also, they donated, and I don't remember the amount of money, but safety at the high school, they donated money for cameras, so we could have surveillance cameras at the high school. And then along with that, they were also able to reduce cost of some of their summer school classes, because they offered classes, and if a family came and if they had one class, it was full price. Then if they had a second one, it was 25% off. Then it was 50% off. So they increased access. We had more students than ever taking enrichment courses for less money out of our parents' pockets, but also helped increase the foundation. And so they do tremendous work for our district, for our students, and it just makes me very proud to be part of this district. So I am done, Mrs. Russell.
Thank you.
I went to a lot of the same things that you did, so I won't be redundant in talking about what was there. But I too went to the meet and greet at McGaw as well, and I think that's a very nice thing to have, is for the community. However many people turn out, I mean, the word spreads and everything, so it was a nice function. I too went to the LoSal Chamber meeting, and every board member was there. I thought it was great. And then I also went to the Seal Beach Chamber, and the main speaker was the guy who's at Boeing and Seal Beach. And then to the Leadership Advance, and that was spectacular. And I think I sat next to a teacher that had been in our intervention program. She was an intervention teacher, another thing made possible by Leif. Yes. And I said, I think this is such a great way to find out what teachers have sometimes, and we can see how great teachers they are, and then they move into a full-time position. And she just loves her job. She teaches at Oak, and so it was wonderful talking to all the new people as well, seeing a bunch of friends that you see all the time and catching up on things. Also, I had the opportunity this summer to visit the Leif Summer School, and I have to say I was absolutely blown away in one of the classes. I can't remember for sure, but it was either first or second grade, and they were doing hands-on science. And being a former science teacher, I was very interested in what was going on. These children were doing these experiments or hands-on activities with these little spinning tops, and they were talking words like resistance, centrifugal force, all these scientific terms. First and second graders. It was incredible. It was at Lee. It was at their the Leif Summer School, and all the classes I went into, there was a class. They were learning to speak Spanish, and I think it's very important to learn a language at a younger age, and we're seeing more and more of this, and it's great to have an opportunity such as that and summer school. So thank you, Leif, for having that program this summer, and it's great to have the reduce, and they were able to reduce the price, and then this next year they're going to be able to do even more, from what I understand. So it's all the community supporting those programs, and thank you to people that do support it, because there's a lot of good that comes from it. Yeah. So anything else for the good of the order? Seeing none, motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, properly moved in second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So Karen, you do have the running record.
I have what?
You have the running record.
The-
I don't know if I'm doing of the shortest meeting, but I think we would all agree, you do run a very efficient meeting. We delayed it by our long break.
That's okay. No problem. I was trying.